Hey, Joe here from Home Studio Corner. There can be a lot of causes for a muddy mix, but this might be one you've not thought of. Here's a mix from years ago that makes for a good example. Let me just hit play, and while it's playing, see if you can identify what the problem is and why this sounds muddy. Okay? Here we go.
Getting tired of holding my head up above the water.
In case you're wondering, this is a song called Where Are You Now from the album Better This Way that I released 2014 maybe? Anyway, so what you hear is a very sparse arrangement. It gets bigger as we go, but we got these big tom parts. And he's going doom, doom. And there's a big reverb on it. But they sound muddy. There's too much. I want my toms big and beefy. I'm a big fan of beefy toms, but there's too much there. So if we look in our mix and come over here, we can see here are our toms. And your initial instinct, and maybe not everybody, maybe you're advanced and you didn't go here, but your initial instinct is, oh yeah, let me solo those toms. Let's hear them in solo. Yeah, they're way too muddy. Let me go EQ the toms. That's not the problem. Let me make one change. Now listen to the toms. That tom sounds fine. It's a little quiet, sorry. That's a fine sounding tom. The problem wasn't the tom track itself. The problem was the reverb. Here's the big old reverb I have on this. It's just a big arena reverb preset with like a 2-second decay time. Here's what that sounds like by itself. That's where we're getting all the boominess. It's the reverb. So often, people put a reverb on a track and they think that's great. And then later they realize, oh, my track sounds muddy. And then they go start EQing the tom in this instance. They'll EQ it like crazy until the tom sounds bad, but maybe it's not muddy anymore. The problem wasn't the tom track, it was the reverb itself. I almost always, I can't think of an example where I don't EQ the reverb specifically to get rid of low end. So there's a couple of EQ moves in place on this track because it was a brighter sounding reverb, but it's still muddy. Here is the way that I EQ'd this reverb. First, a high pass filter, then a low cut down around 75 hertz, and then another cut around 160 to notch out some ringing frequencies that were happening. So listen to what it sounds like now. If I give you this intro, listen to how much better. The toms are still big, they're still beefy, that reverb is still huge and warm, but that whoa, 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 muddy sound that was there is no longer there. You hear that? I put it back in. I took the EQ out, and it's just big and overwhelming and too much. A couple of EQ moves, and now we've got exactly the sound we need for the mix. So that's it. The point I want to make is if you're using a send to send a track to something else, like a delay or a reverb or really anything else, and you identify these toms sound too big, first really make sure that's the problem. Turn off all the sends and just listen to the tom. If it is indeed the muddy thing, then fix it. But if it's not, that should tell you, okay, something that I'm sending it to is the actual problem. This alone could save you lots of frustration and could get you much better mixes that don't have all that boominess that you've been struggling with. For more on mixing and how to get a better mix, check out my 5-step mix guide. It's pretty handy. I like it a lot. I think you'll like it a lot. Go to 5stepmix.com. That's it for me. Thanks so much for watching. Good luck with those muddy mixes. Later.